Well, you know what? Since yesterday was St. Patrick's Day, I figured I'd have my Incredible Hulk figure say this: Hulk like big blue belt! Put the thing back up so I can scamper at the meme. Hulk like. Hello, this is Mr. Hornsby 3. This is the Mr. Hornsby 3 show. And today, I'm going to be talking about my personal favorite. Well, once I get my chair settled, I'll be talking about my personal favorite WWF / WWE championships. I'll probably start out by running through some of the mid-card belts and tag belts that I thought were great that WWE / WWF made. And then after that, talk about my favorite WWE / WWF championships. Now, where's this going to land you probably will know. If you've watched my channel for a long time, you probably know where this belt's going to land. So, yeah. Anyway, let's get into it. So, before I talk about the WWF / WWE championships, let's talk about my favorite championship belt WWE / WWF has ever made. First off, my favorite version of the women's title is the one from the Attitude Era. My favorite version of the women's title. I think it's the best design that they had for that belt ever since that belt's been out. And it really represented all them women wrestlers pretty well. Next up, my favorite WWE / WWF Tag Team Championships, of course, the belt that went from, 85 to all the way up to 02, I think. 85 to 02, I think. Might have been later than that, like 86 or 87. But those are my favorite versions of the WWF / WWE Tag Team Championships. I know the SmackDown Tag Team titles were a tribute to those belts, the original SmackDown Tag Team titles, but you know what? That's all fine and dandy. Alright, my favorite mid-card title underneath the Intercontinental title. I like the Hardcore belt. It was a cool belt and all, but you know what? I'd probably go with the 03 to 2014 or 2015 United States Championship that WWE had. Favorite version of the Intercontinental title, the classic Intercontinental title that came out in 85. Lasted until 98. Then they got rid of it and got that oval one, and then they freaking brung it back. And then they got rid of it again. But, yeah. So that's my favorite version of the Intercontinental Championship. It's always going to be my favorite version of that belt. No matter what. No matter how old I get. No matter what. No matter how many different versions they make of it. That's going to be my favorite version. Alright. And yeah, I think that's it for all the mid-card titles. I'm not going to talk about the freaking, I'm not going to talk about the custom belts because I'll probably save that that video for another time. Maybe, if I had to say, I'd probably go with the skull belt. And, the blue big eagle, which I had on my Incredible Hulk figure. And, the big eagle that had the black on the back of the strap was pretty cool. And the multicolored, winged eagle, straps. But, yeah, anyway. Ran through that. Let's get into my favorite WWF / WWE Championship designs. And this one that is coming up first, it's last on my list of my favorites, but you know what? This belt kind of grew on me. It only grew on me for one reason only, and I'll tell you why in a minute once I reveal the belt. But at last, for my top tier WWE / WWF championships, I'm going with the non-spinning WWE Spinner Championship. Not only did it not spin anymore, also both side plates Like the main side plates there said WWE Champion instead of one saying WWE Champion and then the other saying Monday Night. You know, which was so stupid. Dumb. Yeah, the $1 Million Championship's a great custom belt too. I'll do a custom belt video down the road. Next up for favorite design is the 2013, 2014 WWE Championship. The network logo belt, yeah. The WWE Network logo championship. That was a nice belt. Problem was, all it had was a black background behind it. It didn't have no globe, no eagle on it. And I really dug the belt when it first came out. But there's a better version of it that I'll talk about later on in the video. But yeah, so yeah. The network logo WWE Championship. Next up, you know what? This is probably the perfect spot for this belt, but next up is the current WWE Championship. Now, yeah, it looks a little bit better than its predecessor and all that, but it still is the same design. Except for instead of having the black background, it's got that gold black background in it. It kind of looks like the piece they use for the spinner belt. So the current WWE Championship is right here. And you know what? That's my opinion on that belt, you know. Next up is the 2013 WWE Championship that The Rock brought out the night after WrestleMania 2013 after he beat CM Punk. He came out with that belt, or you could call it the big logo, whatever. Big logo network, yeah, big logo 2013 belt, whatever you want to call it. But I thought that belt looked nice, and it was definitely an upgrade from the spinner because, golly, we went through almost 10 years of the frickin' spinner belt, and hallelujah, when The Rock won the title, he's like, The Rock is revealing a championship that even Stone Cold Steve Austin himself would be proud of carrying. And then he unveiled that WWE Championship. Yeah, which was nice for the time, but you know what? I think the frickin' one, and yeah, I know I put it over this, but I think the one they currently got looks better than the big logo and the network logo, but you know what? The reason why this one's here is because it replaced the worst championship WWE ever made, the spinning version of the spinner belt. And like I said, the spinner belt grew on me once they stopped making the logo frickin' spin and all that stuff. So it kind of grew on me. But I still don't like it as much as I like some of these other belts I'm talking about. Alright, next up, for favorite WWE/WWF championships. Next up is the current World Heavyweight Champion. That belt looks way better than the frickin' belt that they got on SmackDown. The current WWE Championship, and then you look at the current WWE Championship, and you look at the current World Heavyweight title. I'd rather fight for the current World Heavyweight title than the current WWE Championship. I don't like that design. I don't like how it's, there's no eagle or nothing on it, but at least with the frickin' World Heavyweight Championship, the current one, it's got an eagle. It's got the McMahon crest on it. It's got a globe. May not be colored in, but it's got a globe. And I think it's a very, very nice championship belt. And it's definitely the best current WWE championship they got on the WWE roster. The best. Alright. Now we can get to some WWF championships. And right here, this is a belt. Yeah, it's silver and all that, but you know what? It's still a pretty nice belt. And that is the Hogan 85 WWF Championship. I like that belt. It's a very good belt. You know, I think the belt that preceded it is better, but you know what? I'll talk about that belt later on in the video, but yeah. So at this spot, I'm going with the Hogan 85 Championship. I even bought the WrestleMania 1 Hulk Hogan figure just so I could have that belt. Now, yeah, the belt's stiff for the figure, but you know what? Is what it is. And, you know, hey, things happen. Alright, next up for our favorite championships. See, I think I got like a few left. Yeah. Next up is the WWE version of the big gold belt. Now, I've talked about that belt, you know, how the difference between that version of the belt and the WCW version of the belt looks and all that. And I'm pretty sure people sick of hearing me talk about that, but yes. The WWE World Heavyweight Championship, the WWE version of the big gold belt, looked really good. It didn't matter if they did like 3D print on the belt. It didn't matter if they had the strap in the back red. It didn't matter at all. But I love the freaking WWE version of the big gold belt. Not as much as I love the WCW version, because I love the WCW version better. But I do love the WWE version of the big gold belt. It reminds me so much of this championship because they shrunk it down. They put the WWE logo on it. But it reminds me so much of like similar height to this belt. But I love the WWE version of the big gold belt. It's like my favorite. It's like, it's not as good as the WCW version, but it's up there pretty close to it. Alright, next up, for favorite championships. And I believe we're down to the final 4 of my favorite WWE/WWF championships. So, next up is the last great WWE championship that WWE ever made, and that is the 2002 Undisputed Championship. That belt was a great belt, nice belt. You know, at first I didn't like it because it, you know, came after this belt here. But you know what? As the years went on, I started loving that belt, and I wish that during the Ruthless Aggression time, every time Cena would lose the belt, they'd get rid of the spinner, and they'd give us back the Undisputed Championship. That the design was similar to the Smoky Skull and the original Intercontinental title. Not only that, I think it's the same design as my favorite ECW Championship, which is the 96 ECW Championship. But I love the WWF/WWE Undisputed Championship from 2002 to 2005. Just a shame that belt didn't get more use. You know, they could have, you know, Cena could have had the freaking spinner belt as his custom belt when he won the title, but then when everybody else won it, they should have brought that belt back. I mean, that belt was great, perfect size. Like I said, first I didn't like it because it preceded this belt, but you know what? It is what it is. I still like that belt. And I wish, just like with this belt, we would have got more time with it than what we did with it. But I'm still hoping one day WWE will bring this bad boy back. I don't care if they put a network logo on it or anything. If they do, I'll be one of the ones to buy it. But yeah, so anyway. Alright. Next up, this might be controversial. This might not be controversial. It's still pretty high up on my list. But, of course, the belt that is so synonymous with WWE, it doesn't matter what era you grew up in. The one thing you remember about WWF/WWE, it was definitely synonymous with WWF era of the WWE, and that is the Winged Eagle belt. Any version of that belt looked really good, like I just said. The multicolored strap belts, from the white to the blue to the purple to the yellow one, they all look nice. And you know what? I honestly wish, since they brought that belt back, they gotta bring this one back. I mean, come on now. Can we get some outcry for this belt to be returned? Next time I go to a WWE event, I'm gonna hold this belt up, have a sign up and say, bring this design back. But yeah, the Winged Eagle WWF Championship, one of the greatest belts ever made. I didn't like how small it was, and I remember at first I didn't appreciate the belt. But you know what? When I seen what crap came after that belt, like, I don't know, the spinner belt, the big logo, and the freaking network logo came after, and the current WWE Championship, I appreciate the Winged Eagle a lot more. Now, yes, at first I didn't appreciate that belt because of how small it was. I'm like, golly, the belt's so freaking small. Why is it so small? But you know what? It fit perfectly, whether it was on a big guy, whether it was on a small guy. It still fit perfectly with that guy. And I feel like that belt deserved to be in this spot. And like I said, I gained a new appreciation for that belt over the years, especially with all the crap we've had with frickin' the network logo, the big logo, the frickin' current championship. Just really, when they brought that belt back on Saturday Night Main Event, because I watched that show only to see the return of the Winged Eagle belt. You know, and I didn't realize how much I missed that belt until I saw Cody Rhodes come out with it on that frickin' show. But you know what? I love the Winged Eagle belt now a lot more than I probably did when I was younger. Even what? I did a video like this when I first started YouTube, and I didn't have the Winged Eagle so high. Now it's third on my list. But what are the two ahead of it? Well, there's two belts I haven't mentioned yet, and we're getting ready to talk about it. So at number 2, for my favorite WWF/WWE championships, it is the Hogan 86-87 WWF Championship. I love that freaking belt. Now, it didn't have a freaking eagle on it, but it had a globe. They called it the World Heavyweight Championship. Andre the Giant had a freaking bigger version of the belt made when he was getting ready to fight Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 3 for it. And you know what? Either that belt's either the same size as the Winged Eagle, or maybe a little bit bigger than the Winged Eagle. But you know what? I love that belt. I like how that belt looks. That's why I got so annoyed when they came out with that Defining Moments Hulk Hogan years ago, and they had the freaking belt so freaking big. Not only that, every other time they've released that belt, since this came out with the Defining Moment Hogan, it's still way too big. But you know what? It's a nice small belt, and I wasn't really big on small belts that much, but I love that belt. It didn't matter what, it didn't matter when I saw that belt just looked great. And I wish we would have had more time with that, but they, the Winged Eagle came out, 88? And the dual-plated Winged Eagle is the one that came out. And then they had the all-gold version. And that lasted all the way up till 1998. But you know what? Still, a lot of people might not be happy that I put this belt ahead of the Winged Eagle. But you know what? It's my list. You can make a list of your own. So go ahead and make your list. But you know what? My number one belt, no matter what, my number one WWE/WWF championship ever made is the one right here on my shoulder. The Big Eagle, a.k.a. the Attitude Era belt. The belt that was just so great. When I first see it, and you know what? No matter what version of the belt it was, whether it was the freaking blue version with the block logo, whether it was the freaking blackstrap version with the gold logo, whether it was the blackstrap version with the blue on the back with the gold logo. No matter what, I always loved the Big Eagle title. When I first seen the Big Eagle title, the night after WrestleMania 14, Vince McMahon came out with that belt on his shoulder to give to Stone Cold Steve Austin to replace the Winged Eagle. Before I even knew Vince was going to give Austin that belt, I'm like, man, that belt looks nice. I hope that's going to be the new WWF Championship going forward. And guess what? That's what it was. And you know what? It is the greatest design that WWE ever made. And this was around during the Monday Night Wars. This was the belt that Stone Cold, The Rock, Triple H, Big Show, Mankind, Undertaker, Kane, everybody held this version of the belt. Yes, a lot of my favorite wrestlers from the Golden Era held the Winged Eagle, like Hulk Hogan, like The Warrior, like the Macho Man, like Bret Hart, like Diesel. Shame guys like Razor Ramon and that never got to hold the belt, but you know what? It is what it is, but yes. My absolute favorite version, and it doesn't matter what day of the week it is. It doesn't matter what year it is. It doesn't matter if I'm 50 years old. It doesn't matter if I'm 60 years old. It doesn't matter if I'm 100 years old. I'm always going to say this is the best WWF/WWE Championship ever made in history. Doesn't matter what WWE comes out with after they're freaking done with these belts they got right now. But this is the best championship ever in history. The Big Eagle, aka Attitude Era belt. I love this belt, and it's my favorite championship of all time. Now before I go, I gotta freaking admit something. I made a freaking big mistake on my video Monday when I was talking about Rooster Fighter. The big mistake was, look, I was freaking tired. I had just went and worked out. Then Monday I spent the whole day in Louisville because my son had a dental appointment. But I worked out, then we went straight to Louisville from there. So I was tired, so I wasn't thinking straight. But, roosters, yes. Roosters are the male versions of chicken. So what I said about that joke, yeah, I guess it might have been a funny joke. I still didn't find it funny. I thought it was still stupid. The anime still sucks, is my point. But the fact of the matter is, I had a brain fart. A big brain fart in that video Monday. So, yeah. I apologize for that. Yes, Rooster is the freaking male version of a chicken. Like I said, I was tired. And yeah, someone called me out in the comments about it too. But you know what? I was even thinking when I was talking about the anime, even though I was tired, I'm like, wait a minute, isn't Rooster a freaking male version of a chicken anyway? But, my brain was not functioning right. I was tired. I was ready for bed by the time I got home. So, yeah. So I apologize, but you know what? That freaking Rooster Fighter show still sucks. Doesn't matter. No one's going to convince me otherwise of that show. Unless it gets better as it goes on, which I highly doubt. But, yeah. So, yeah. My bad for the freaking mistake I made. Roosters are the male version of chicken. I was just really tired that day. So, alright. Anyway, you guys let me know your list of your favorite WWE/WWF championship. Do you agree with my list? Do you have your own list? Do you think there's other belts that deserve getting that honored or other than this? Because I'm pretty sure some people might like the big green belt that the Iron Sheik and Bob Backlund had. People might like the old WWF Championship, which some of those belts were nice, but some of them weren't too nice. But I didn't grow up in that era. I grew up from the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, went to the Ruthless Aggression era, the current era, and you know what? Yeah, so yeah. So let me know your guys' opinion down there. But, I also did my WrestleFigure Mania build yesterday. You heard from Hulk Hogan with one of my favorite belts on the figure. Stone Cold Steve Austin, Demolition, Kurt Angle, and yeah, I think that was it. Anyway, that'll do it. Please like this video, leave a comment, subscribe for more. And this is the best championship ever. And not only am I saying this a few days after Austin 316 Day, but I'm saying a Stone Cold Steve Austin catchphrase. And that's the bottom line, because Mr. Hornsby 83 said so, that this is the best WWF championship ever made.